Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Maddow doesn't understand what Donald Trump has been doing to the reflecting pool in Washington, D.C.
A lawsuit was filed today to stop whatever it is Trump is doing to the reflecting pool on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. He announced last month that a company who does all his pools would be doing the reflecting pool, and for some reason, at his instruction, he said they would be painting it blue, as if it were a swimming pool.
I'm Rich Lowry of National Review, and that was the MS Now host complaining, as you heard, that Trump wants to make the reflecting pool look like a swimming pool. Therefore, he must think it's for swimming rather for reflecting. What an idiot. Now, this is a preposterous line of criticism, and the whole controversy over this project just shows once again that Trump's detractors, they can't or aren't willing to distinguish between what's good, what's bad, what's indifferent. Making the reflecting pool, which has been a disgrace for a long time, actually look better should be a matter of national consensus. Instead, you've had various people dumping on this project, nitpicking it. You've had catastrophizing media coverage, including from the New York Times. Here they are a couple weeks ago.
President Trump wants to fix the Lincoln Memorial's reflecting pool, but it doesn't seem to be going to plan.
Then you have the preservationists. Here's one quoted in a PBS report. The reflecting pool is part of one of the most iconic designed landscapes in the world and has defined the visual and experiential character of the nation's capital for over a century. Fine. Wrote plaintiffs in a lawsuit that seeks to stop the project. The plaintiffs, an organization of landscape architects, said proceeding with the renovation would create, quote, a permanent blemish on the National Mall. Then we had another quote in a Washington Post report. It illustrates how vulnerable our shared cultural landscape heritage is in Washington under this administration, said the leader of a local advocacy organization that sued to stop Trump's changes to the reflecting. Then we had a CNN report also relating the concern that Trump is treating this like a swimming pool where people are actually going to go swim, laps or something.
It was President Trump attempting to paint, they said, over history. A historian told me, Anderson, that this is not intended to be a reflecting pool that people dive and swim in, and that's the fear.
Okay, so let's be real. I'm from Washington, D.C. I love the National Mall. I love the Lincoln Memorial. Spent a lot of time around it. I've never heard anyone say, oh, wow, the reflecting pool is achromatic and gray. How gorgeous. And on top of that, it's actually had problems over the years with algae blooms, not to put too fine a point on it, but it's looked like crap. You don't want to be anywhere near this water.
There's plenty to take pictures of in downtown Washington, D.C. The Lincoln Memorial, the World War II Memorial, and then there's this. Folks snapping photos of the reflecting pool.
It's really sludgy up this end.
And what's in it?
It's disgusting. It's not right.
Algae.
It smells like wet dog down here, When my dog came home from a stream, he always smelled like this, so it's gross.
Now, that's an old CNN report, and amazingly enough, the reflecting pool looked like that after a massive Obama renovation.
The Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool reopened at the end of August to great fanfare after a $34 million renovation that lasted nearly 2 years. But less than a month later, the famous pool of water is full of algae. Algae are simple organisms that thrive in areas where there is heat and sunlight. You have plenty of that here.
The water may not look great, but it doesn't pose a health or safety hazard. It's really just the yuck factor.
If it's sunny, if it's really warm, it will rise to the top. So on some days, depending on the weather, you will see algae at the top, and it looks like small islands of algae.
You can't make it up. What happened?
But why has algae suddenly become a problem? The reflecting pool was renovated to fix cracks and leaks, but it also included installing a system to draw water from the nearby tidal basin into the pool instead of using city drinking water. Algae naturally grows in the tidal basin. Plus, the renovated pool holds less water. That shallow depth is a perfect condition for algae to grow. A bit of an embarrassment for the Park Service.
It's really a shame that they hadn't planned out this a little bit better so you wouldn't have algae growing after all this time and money.
Now, of course, true to form, Trump has been overly optimistic about this project. Originally, he said it would take just 2 weeks. It's taken longer than that. He said it would cost about $2 million. It's cost 13. He's been vague and sketchy about whether he knows the firm that was ultimately selected under a no-bid contract to do this project on an urgent basis. And he's been high-handed about the various reviews that would ordinarily take place. But the basic concept here of painting the bottom of the reflecting pool blue, what Trump's calling American flag blue, and dealing with a leaking problem prior to America's 250th anniversary celebration. How can anyone really be opposed to that? And by the way, the proof is in the pudding, and so far, pudding seems pretty good. Here's the author of an otherwise skeptical, of course, Washington Post report. A Thursday afternoon stroll down to the reflecting pool confirmed that the new American flag blue surface was, as promised, very reflective. Water burbled up from a spout in the middle of the pool, spilling down its center. Construction vehicles were still parked inside the pool towards its edges. Every once in a while, a golf cart loaded with workers would drive through the water, leaving a speedboat wake. Here's a more grudging account from USA Today. On Monday, the pool offered a decent reflection of the monument as it continues to be filled with water. In an ex-post on June 4th, Interior Secretary Doug Burgum shared a photo of the reflecting pool showing a glowing Washington monument shimmering on the water, demonstrating that despite the new color, maybe because of it, the reflecting pool will maintain its purpose. Here's that image, by the way. Looks pretty majestic and gorgeous to me. And it's pretty hard to disagree with the Interior Secretary from this interview pushing back on that aforementioned New York Times report at the beginning of this video.
The New York Times also wrote 12 years ago that the Obama administration spent more money. Reflecting pool was closed for 2 years. It never worked. That thing, even right now, when we took this project over, was leaking 45,000 gallons of water a day, 16 million gallons a year, because the thing never worked. And they spent more money, and it was closed for 2 years. So everybody should be celebrating President Trump getting a project done in 1/10 the time, so 10 times faster at a fraction of the cost of a previous administration. There was no outrage then. There should be outrage. That thing turned into an algae-driven slough, and this thing is going to be fantastic. It's going to be open in time for the celebration.
But Rachel Maddow and her ilk apparently prefer algae blooms so long as they aren't the work of Donald Trump.
The lawsuit filed today also says that the reflecting pool's signature dark color is a, quote, character-defining feature of the reflecting pool, and that the whole reason it's called the freaking reflecting pool is because its dark color means it reflects. It reflects, for example, the Lincoln Memorial on one side and the Washington Monument on the other side. And they don't say this, but it's implicit. Putting up little cabanas and deck chairs around it and painting it blue is never going to turn it into a swimming pool, even though that's all you apparently understand. Trump literally already paved the Rose Garden. Now here he comes with, diving board for the reflecting pool.
Now, there are many things that Trump can be accused of not knowing or not caring about, but beautification is not one of them. And it is a sincere passion project of his to make Washington, D.C. look better. And he's made some progress on that front, and we should all be grateful for it. Beautification is a good thing, even if Donald Trump does it, and even if the left, of course, hates it for that reason. Hey, by the way, do yourself a favor, comment, like, subscribe. I promise you won't regret it. I'm Rich Lowry. Over and out.